Hello and welcome to this bonus video. A couple weeks ago, I made an article about JavaScript variables. I got some awesome feedback from them, which made me think I should clarify a couple things. Plus, there was some stuff that I didn't get to cover in the original video, which I figured I would go over. So some new stuff for this video is going to be style choices and naming conventions, and then I want to clarify what I said about primitive types and const immutability. So first up, style choices. When you declare variables, there's a bunch of different options. The style's up to you, but just keep it consistent. First up is camel casing. Camel casing is broken up into two different distinct styles. The first is dromedary, which is that first one, which is basically lowercase, first word, everything else is uppercase words. The second one is Pascal, which is all uppercase. Dromedary casing, or first word lowercase, is used for common variables throughout all my applications, whereas the Pascal case is used for classes or components. Next up is snake case. This method is pretty common in PHP, but for whatever reason, I haven't seen it much in JavaScript land. I don't really like it anyway, so I don't use it. According to Stack Overflow, this next convention is colloquially known as kebab case. While this method cannot be used by JavaScript, it is a common convention in HTML. I try to avoid it for a couple reasons that I'll talk about in a second. So what do I use? Well, I typically use camel casing for everything. That includes CSS, JavaScript, HTML. For one, it seems to be pretty standard around the JavaScript world, but also because it makes writing out selectors a little cleaner and consistent. Consider the following example. We have a form, we have an input type, and we have a submit button. When we submit that form data, we can access it via the event parameter. So add the event listener, the event gets passed into the function, and if we use hyphens, we have to use brackets and quotes to get that value, as opposed to if we use anything without special characters, we can use dot notation. I think that makes for cleaner code, but I'll leave that debate up to you. And now on to one of the hardest things there is to do in any programming language, figuring out what to name your variables. Over the years, I've come across a number of different tips to help you from wasting time. The most important is name it what it is. I know it sounds simple, but just think about what exact information is going to be held in this variable and what you're going to do with it. Try to avoid using things like I, E, P, or any other single case. Use whole words and describe what it is. First, I want to clarify what I said about primitive types. So shout out to Rudy for highlighting this. When we declare a variable, the value itself is not an object, it is immutable, and it has no methods. So when we say let string equals string, the value itself, string, is just that, an immutable string. However, JavaScript wraps it in an object, in this case, string. We can use those methods to do a bunch of things, but the original value doesn't change. So string dot to uppercase will do it uppercase. However, if we look at string again, it's still just string. The last thing I wanted to clarify is that cont is an immutable pointer. It's not completely immutable. Two over on Twitter pointed this out, and they are completely correct. If we declare a variable to be an empty object, we can then say object.sub item equals I am an item. And then if we look at the object again, you can see that we've added that. So an object is a immutable pointer. However, it is not completely immutable. And that's it. Some style choices and some clarification about variable types and immutability. If you have any other suggestions or opinions about what I talked about, throw a comment below. I'm always happy to chat. If you like what you hear, throw a sub and you'll get notified next time I get one of these videos together. As always, happy coding.